Brittany Deigh. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Addicted Household Recovery. So this is like such a funny realization because I follow this woman, I can't remember her name right now, on Instagram, and something that she's trademarked, it's like a course of hers, something that she's trademarked is called the Spicy One. And I had been following her and she talked about, this like she would, like, one of her reels, for example, was her like hiding in a closet, and then she opens the closet and she's like, "Oh, you hiding in the closet, like away from your child's like temper tantrums and like poor behavior and like destructive this and that and like talking back and like saying fuck you to the, whatever, and just being like, really like spicy. Like, oh, you got a spicy one too? Like, don't worry, I have one too. Like, let's talk about how to parent the spicy one." And for months, I followed this woman and I kept thinking like, oh, I really need to send this to my mom. I really need to send this account to my mom. Like, I feel like she would really resonate with this, because my brother was just so challenging as a child. He would sit there in fucking school and smoke a goddamn cigarette in the hallway and give you the middle finger whenever the fucking security guard would try and come up to him. It's like he did not, literally the amount of school transfers that he went to, you know, and I'm not even exaggerating, guys. Like, he went out to schools that were in the middle of the fucking woods that's basically were like a jail army camp, just to be able to try and get him some schooling, like everything. In and out of, yeah, just in and out of juvie from a young child, and just all kinds of stuff, and hospitals and everything. He got kicked out of every freaking school he ever went to. And so I made this assumption that I'm like looking at her content, right? And I'm like, oh man, Dan's the spicy one. Like, it was really helped me empathize with my mom. And then I realized, after this whole situation happened with the illy, and I realized that I was like trying to, I was the one, like, they are completely fine with, like, living in ignorance and just staying in this old cycle of codependency and addiction, and not substance abuse, but substance abuse is just one branch of addiction. Like, addiction is hoarding, addiction is sex, addiction is gambling, addiction, it's so much more than just drinking and drugs. That's just like the really seen one. That's the one that's like right on your face, but addiction is so deep, and it can be addiction to material items or money or all the things, so many things. And so, I really thought that, Dan, or my brother, was the spicy one. I really thought he was the spicy one. And I realized, like, no, actually, Brittany, it was the funniest, like, eye-opening moment, right? I realized, no, Brittany, you're the spicy one. Like, they're totally fine with being in this paradigm of addiction and pretending, and like, let's just smile pretty for the picture. And that would like probably work for the rest of their lives. There are millions of people on this planet that works for their entire lives, that they just sweep it under the rug and, keep trotting on and smile pretty for the picture. And I'm the spicy one. I'm the one that's like, absolutely not. Let's have a real ass conversation. Let's have uncomfortable conversations. Let's deal with the reality of the situation. Let's face the truth. And that, in this world, is actually being spicy. That's really being spicy, truly being spicy. I'm the one that throws a fucking wrench in the whole pretty picture. And I didn't even realize it, because I'm over here like, why would we not want to live in truth? Like, why would we not want to heal this illness. Like, why would we not want to deal with our shit? Like, to me, I'm like, what? Why? That doesn't even make sense. Like, why would we want to pretend? I'm like, but that's me, right? That's who I am. The reality is that the majority of the situation, the majority of the family illness, right? Addiction is a family illness. The majority of those participating in the illness are fine being in the illness. They're fine with continuing in that paradigm, and they probably could stay, right, ill for the rest of this lifetime. They may come back and have another lifetime where they're having to face and move through this, right? But I'm pretty much the only one that will literally toss a whole fucking wrench at that pretty picture and break the glass and say, fuck that. That's not real. I want to be real, or I don't want to be in the fucking pretty picture. And I realized that that is actually what's really spicy. It's like I've always put it on my brother that he was the one that always kind of like ruined everything, and like he was the one that always threw a wrench in things, and like he was the one that always was the that shook up everything, and that he was the one that was the problem, if there was a problem child, and it's like, no, actually I'm the problem child. If there is a problem child, I'm the one that will not sit down, shut up, and just be okay with it. Now, I did in my childhood, right? And so that's probably where we flip-flopped, and my brother was the problem child up until I was 19. But once I turned 19, that's whenever I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Fuck this pretty picture. It's not a real pretty picture. And I'm out. And that's when I left and started traveling. And ever since then, I've been the spicy one. I've been the one that every time I try and come back around and they're like, play pretty. It's a pretty picture. Just smile. I'm like, and then I fucking throw the wrench at the glass. And I just can't. And, the more that I'm realizing that I'm the spicy one, I'm the one that's actually different, that it's not like I'm like trying to blame, right? And that's the victim. I'm like trying to blame and say that it's his fault. It's his fault. And God bless my mother, right? She's probably like both of her kids are just going back and forth. He's like it's her fault. I'm like it's his fault. He's like it's her fault. I'm like it's his fault. And it's like really, I'm realizing that where I need to take radical responsibility for my reality is that I am just different. I just do not operate that way. I cannot bring my soul to be fake. I cannot bring my soul to pretend. I cannot bring my soul to just smile pretty for the like maybe like twice a year, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Like I could probably make that happen because it's like a temporary thing for the day, and then I can just like cleanse myself and, recalibrate myself. But that's about all I'm willing to sacrifice. That's about all I'm willing to bend on as far as not being who I truly am for a given period of time, smiling pretty for the picture. Um, but everyone else is cool with that. So it's like, why can't I just let them do that? And that's where the victim comes in is I'm like, well, then I'm left out. Then I have to spend my whole life struggling. Then I have to spend my whole life, because there's a lot of wealth involved. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of generational wealth being passed down, right? And I'm left out of that. I don't get the houses. I don't get the money. I don't get all of that stuff because I won't play the way that it's desired to play if you want those things. And I'm just accepting that like I would still rather have my soul. And I really believe big picture that that is what's actually going to get me more wealth in this life than anything, especially if we're talking about what a true wealth identity is. And I think we all have different what a wealth identity really is to us. And then the material and the money and the houses and the real estate and all that stuff, that if you're desiring that, the cars, the boats, the da 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 da, all of that stuff just naturally comes behind you truly being in your wealth identity. But to me, it is so much more wealthy to be in my integrity. It is so much more wealthy to be in my truth. It is so much more wealthy for my soul to be in its truest expression. And that in this world, not only just in my family, but in this world, is fucking spicy. A majority of people in this world would be like, you literally have millions of dollars of real estate in generations that could be passed down to you if you would just smile pretty for the picture. Why would you not just smile pretty for the picture? And most people think that it's ignorant of me, right? To choose myself, my soul, my truth, my healing, my true alignment, what really actually truly feels wealthy to me, which is integrity, which is my truth, over these material gains, these homes and this money and this support and all these things, right? And that in this world is spicy. And so I'm realizing that what's happening on just how I'm spicy, with my family, I'm actually spicy in the whole world at large. I'm the spicy one. That's part of being whatever you want to call it, starseed, ascended to earth, whatever label you want to put on it, that is part of bringing a completely new paradigm, a completely new identity of wealth, a completely new way of living, a completely different way of existing in this world. And I really had to come to a place of peace with that in order to come to a place of peace within myself, is to realize that they're just being exactly who they are. They're not spicy. They're not to blame. My brother is not to blame. I am the one that is choosing. That's where your power comes. Choose a different way of being. Because I will be totally honest with you guys. I tried it whenever I got pregnant with my daughter. I was like, "Oh, I guess it's like time to like be a happy family, and like I'll play pretty in the picture so that way she can be a part of the picture." And like there was a point where I was spiraling out so bad, guys, last spring. It's almost exactly a year ago. Yeah, like either this week or next week, I was on the phone with the suicide hotline. 'Cause I was like, I literally don't wanna live anymore. I cannot keep going on this way. I had literally my mind broke. And I know that there's a lot of the antenatal depression that played a role in that, with my hormones changing and the chemicals in my brain really shifting and changing. But there was also me reliving all of the gaslighting, all of the just complete dismissal of my true feelings and what I'm really experiencing, and just all of that, trying to be a part of it again. It was just like so amplified, especially when I had spent years, right? I told you I started on my healing journey when I was 19. When I spent years in this like true awakened state where I'm like awake and I know who I am and I know who my soul is. And then I tried to fit in the pity picture. I tried to do that. Really, I really did. With every effort in my bones. And it was trying to survive. It was trying to be supported in being a new mother and having my daughter be a part of, her bloodline family and all these things. And it's like, that is clearly, I tried it. Clearly, it broke me down, and then I, like, got up again, and then within 6, 7 months, it broke me down again, right? I even tried to, like, get up and be like, "Okay, this must be you," you know? And obviously it was me. I'm not, like, playing a victim to it, but it's definitely who and what you surround yourself with plays a major role in what you are experiencing in this reality. And so, once I had that breakdown, you got to break down to break through, right? Once I had that breakdown in December and I realized this just does not work for me. I realized, right, in a simple way of saying, I am the spicy one. I am the one that goes against the grain. I'm the one that cannot do this thing that you guys are doing. And instead of trying to force them to be more like me, I had to learn to just let them be them. And I am just on a different timeline. I'm on a different paradigm. I'm operating in a different way in this life. And to come into harmony and to peace with that and be okay with that. And I also think that in realizing that, I think there's a lot more change that's going to continue to come because there's still things that I'm doing that's so that way my daughter can be a part of my family, but it's not actually aligned with my truth. But it's just like I'm just chipping away one little thing at a time. I'm not. When I was 19, I ripped the whole tree out of the goddamn ground and just was like, nope, every single thing of this is going to be is going to be adjusted. Every single thing of this is going to be recalibrated. Where right now I'm doing it in a much more grounded way where I'm like, okay, this is being recalibrated. Now this is going to be recalibrated. Now this is going to change. Now this is going to change. But I do think that there's still a lot of major changes on the way. So stay updated, keep listening. Thank you guys for being present. Just know that if you're the spicy one, it's okay. It is all right. There's other spicy ones out here. I'll love you. It's okay. You are, and this is where, being integrity with yourself, being in devotion to who you truly are and in your truth, that's where you're really going to reside with spirit. And I promise you all of the wealth you could ever really and truly desire for yourself. That's where it's at. And it's just a matter of you really deciding to choose that and to choose to surrender to who you truly are and allowing that to flourish instead of doing the pretend thing, because that's the illness. That's not where your health is. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.